Patricia,
We meet again.
man, I see a lot of you like a bad penny. Keep showing up.
A bad penny. Oh no.
How can I get into this? Admit.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Bill, I didn't get the woman from that that needed my help.
I don't remember who it was. Hey, guys, I am going to put in the chat box a link if you want to link to your social media. Put it in here. I shouldn't do it that way. I should text to you privately. Let's do it that way.
I think that's better. Then we can just copy and paste it.
Yeah. What is that number? Why does it not look right to me? Somehow, oh, I was the wrong number. I'm sorry. This is the right one. And Ronan, there's the right one for you. Oh, let's see here. Are we live? Go live.
Yep, you're recording already.
Hey, well, here we are. I don't. This is a different way to do this technically, but here we are. In the studio. Let's see here. Go live. Take that. Why is this not coming over from the? Not yet coming over. Okay, hold on 1 second. What is going to have to happen? I'm going to have to just record it because for some reason it's not really working the way I wanted it to. Okay, but we're live here. This is so interesting. This technology is amazing. Okay, well, good. Well, let's get started. Hey, it's Bill Gross, and this is our homebuyer seminar. We get together every week and talk about how to help people who want to buy their first house or buy another house, buy a house. And we get real clear on the process and the advantages of it. And we talked last week, we overviewed the kind of a different methodology to think about how we're going to do this. And so today we want to kind of take one of the ideas and go a little deeper. So if you remember last week, we talked about the 6 advantages of benefits of homeownership. Just enjoying, feeling happy, tax savings, appreciation, equity, you have roots in a community, and education. And so in the process that we talked about last week, we laid out 7 steps. And the first one is home buying for you? So you want to think about, why do you want to buy a house? What's important to you about being a homeowner? It could be one of these reasons. It could be all these reasons. But you have to get clear on which it is for you, right? Is it just to save taxes? Not very motivating. Now, when you're investing in property, tax savings becomes a great vehicle because you have income you can offset with real estate in the short run. And instead of paying taxes, put money into property and end up with equity. Appreciation and equity, I think, are great reasons in the long run that people benefit from real estate. It's hard to see that when you start. When I grew up, people assumed they were going to buy a house that they're going to live in. But over time, I think that's changed a little bit. But certainly happiness and roots, I think, are the most common, that people who feel that they own something, they know where they're going to be, they control to some degree their destiny. And that's why I think more people get involved in it. So we talked about, number one is home buying for you? And I would say 90% of transformation is mindset. I coach a lot of real estate agents every day and other business people. And I have a team of 28 people total in my team. Don't talk to them all every day, for sure, but I talk to a couple every day. And what I find with anybody changing what they're doing is 90% of the challenge of a change is mindset. So if you don't own a house, but you're renting, but your goal is to buy a house, think about mentally why it's important to you and get your mindset that you are a homeowner, you just haven't yet closed the transaction. Act like a homeowner. If you were a homeowner, how would you save money? Would you buy food tonight on Uber Eats or DoorDash, or would you make dinner at home and save some money? Would you buy lunch at work, or would you maybe make a lunch to save some money to get into that first house, because anybody who's bought their first home will tell you that it's almost always a real budget buster to get into initially. We're paying a little bit more. The responsibility forces us to be more responsible. But is that right for you? So think about how important it is to you, and are you willing to pay that price? And then get your mindset right about why you want to buy a house. And that will drive you to make those decisions, whether you have to save more money or pay off credit card and debt in order to qualify, or whatever it is, getting your paperwork together. For some people, it's just getting your taxes filed earlier. There are a lot of people who are self-employed who can't buy houses until March, April, or May because they don't have the paperwork together. But if you can get your taxes filed in January, February, then you're going to be ahead of those people in a competitive market. One reason, in my experience, the housing market's always busier in spring is because for them, more and more people have filed taxes. They made good money last year, but it doesn't count until you file your tax returns. And so the sooner you get on that, I can tell you personally, I have a bookkeeper for the first time. I changed accounting companies. I'm ready once January 31st rolls around and I get the last statements from a couple of people I need to file taxes. We're going to be ready to file that next day because I'm going to push as soon as I can because I have a couple of real estate investments I have in mind. So that's the mindset. In my mind, I've already bought those 2 rental properties. I just need to continue executing the plan to get there, right? So that's the main thing I want to talk about tonight is mindset, getting your mind right about buying a house, having that goal in front of you regularly, and doing what you need to do to get there. Patricia or David, Ronan, anything you guys want to add on the subject of mindset and the goal of buying a property?
Hi, Ronan, with Credit Repair 90210. Well, because we actually talked about it a little bit last week, and actually it's funny because I was just talking to a friend of mine. I told her to jump on today. We were talking about, properties and good time to buy and bad time to buy. And there is a notion now with the younger generation, good time to buy and bad time to buy. And my daddy's older and he's been in real estate, through, started in the 70s. And I just had a conversation with him and it's funny for him, there's no such thing as a bad time to buy.
Right.
It's always a good time to buy.
Right.
I have a friend my age, and for him, he owns a property, he owns a home. He owns a home, but it's for him, he's always scared. It's always a bad time to buy. The market's always going to crash. Everything is always going to go down. And it's just like I hate to say it, I'm more on my dad's side. It's always a good time to buy. If you can buy. And we do out-of-state real estate, and there is no, even if it goes down a little bit, at the end of the day, you're always going to come out a winner, especially in a market like Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's never a good time to buy and overpay.
Mm-hmm.
It's never a good time to buy something you can't afford.
Yeah.
But if it's something you can afford and something you're buying at the right price and the right terms, it's always a good time to buy.
It's always a good time to buy.
Yeah, I actually just wanted to comment on that too. Hi, everybody. I'm Patricia with eXp Realty. And I think also when you're buying for the first time, you want to keep your mind open to the possibilities that may come your way. You may be considering or having your mind focused on buying a certain size home, and you may be able to get into a condo, which would still serve your needs as far as your living situation. It'll still be functional for your family. And so maybe at this time, that's the best investment for you, but you can always live in it for a few years or rent it out later. And so just having that open mindset that you can, you're not going to be in that home for the rest of your life, right? You have the option to scale down. You can upgrade, you can move out of that house, buy another house when you're ready, and basically upgrade in the future. So when you buy a home, sometimes it's just like your starter home. You're not going to necessarily be there for another 20 years. You might be there for 5 or 10, but after that, you can basically, you have options, and there's so much you can do once you have an investment like that with real estate, as far as renting it or basically building your real estate wealth and purchasing another property when you're ready.
Yeah. I mean, the first house I bought, I think I shared last week, we bought a house with a very small house in a neighborhood of big houses, a house with no view, a hill behind it, actually, in a neighborhood of houses with views. But because we were the little house with no view in a neighborhood of houses with views, we were in a neighborhood that was just, doing really well. And as a result, we made a lot of money. We bought it, and in a year made over $100,000. And that was 1987. That was, more money than I made in a year. And I didn't pay taxes on that profit because I rolled it all in the next house. And so the next house we bought a year later, we got with was 4-bedroom house. It was on a cul-de-sac, which was important to me. Our backyard was 2.5 acres. And we didn't have a pool, but we had a large jacuzzi, oversized jacuzzi or sauna. So, sometimes you have to go through the process and look at sometimes being willing to pay the price in the beginning to get what you want. But certainly that was my case. Anybody else want to share their experiences as far as buying their first house, what they had to do to get there, and what the process
Share
looked like?
mine if you is my mic working? This is a new
Yeah.
PC.
Hey, Eric, how you doing?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Good.
So I lost money on the first house I bought. It's
Ouch.
probably the only home I've lost money on, but I learned a lot. So it was a learning experience. It was during my wife's residency in Rochester, New York, and we really wanted to own a house. We didn't want to rent, but we knew we were probably only staying there for 3 years. And that's when it's not really the right time to buy a house.
Right.
It wasn't the circumstances of the time, because if we were staying there longer, we would have made money. Although it was a declining time for Rochester. Kodak was scaling back, Xerox was scaling back. They were the big employers. So there can be a bad time in a specific place, I guess. But it kept us from making mistakes in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
And
had you kept it,
less than a year of college.
did you consider a year of rent? You consider renting the property?
Hmm?
Do you consider renting the property out when you left Rochester?
We didn't consider renting it. We probably could have it just wasn't in our mindset back then. It was 27 years ago.
Sure. And think about it. What did you sell it for, and what's it worth today? Even in a market like Rochester, which doesn't appreciate a lot, I'm sure it's worth a lot more today, probably 3 times what it was back then.
Yeah, it's about double. It's not really. It's compared to what real estate here's done. It's not. I'm in Arizona now, so compared to Arizona, hasn't been strong, but we probably could have rented it. I didn't really consider it at the time. It took a long time.
And so sometimes we learn, and like I said, when you're young, you take the things you learn and make it on the next one. Well, thanks for sharing.
Not my first house experience, but when we moved right during the credit crisis, and we kept our old house as a rental. We still own it.
I'm sure you do well on both of those.
So, renting it makes sense.
Yeah. The only people who lost money in 2008 and 9 are those who had to sell. And I think it's important that when you buy a property, you have to think about it as a lender at that time and a realtor. People were talking to buying houses where there were adjustable mortgages, but they didn't understand that the payment was going to change dramatically in a year or two. And so when those payments hit, they were shocked, couldn't afford them, couldn't rent them. And that's why they went to foreclosure. Whereas today, you have a chance to lock in a 30-year fixed rate. As long as it cash flows, you can keep the property forever. You're not going to lose it if you don't sell it. And if it rents, you can use that to cover the costs in most cases. Joanna G, I don't know if you want to unmute, but she asked, can you send out printed links for first-time home buyers who aren't millionaires? So Joanna, what I'll say to you is, if you have no assets other than If you're a veteran, no money down. If you're not a veteran, 3.5% down payment for an FHA loan. If your income's in line, and you can buy a property today, and you can buy one to live in. The question is where and how nice is it? You may not be able to buy in Los Angeles and West Los Angeles, but you can buy property, and maybe that's a reason why people. I'll say this is why a lot of people move to Rochester or Arizona from California. They can't afford a house in LA. They can't afford a house in the neighborhood they live in, but they can in other areas. And that's one of the reasons why people move to remote areas for their first house. And then maybe they rent it out and move closer when they've made more money and saved more money. So I'd say, the beauty of real estate, particularly the house market, is really for, modest Americans that have good income. I don't mean great income, but good, solid income, middle-class income, have no debt. That's the key. And having a good credit score. And I would say talk to Patricia can help you as far as a real estate agent. Eric is a loan officer. He can help you with financing questions. And David or Ronan can help you if you have some credit issues to help clean up your credit. But you do not need to be a millionaire to buy a house today. You really just need $3,500 and a couple thousand for closing costs. You can have the seller pay for some of your closing costs, perhaps. And you can be in a property. And you can do that in 30 days from today. There's other no-cost programs. Those are harder to come by. And I think in the long run, not as good deals typically. But you certainly need to be a millionaire. So talk to them, or if you want to unmute, talk a little bit. I'd be glad to see if I could help you through your situation. DS says, is it true you need to provide 2 years of proof of income to get an FHA loan? I'm a business owner without salary. My wife is a new immigrant, green card holder with no U.S. credit history, but recently employed. In general, the way we prove income is with 2 years. And if you're employed, your last 2 years salary history. And if you're self-employed, you would normally need 2 years filed tax returns. There are some lenders that will take a year to date if you can verify your year-to-date income by providing the check statements for your business account. If you can delineate the two, and have a profit and loss statement. And if it's prepared by a bookkeeper or an accountant, they sign it, their lenders will accept that. Most won't. Generally, you need 2 years filed tax returns if you're self-employed. But again, I would talk to a lender, because what that says to me, that's Drew or DS, Drew. What says to me, Drew, is that maybe you can't buy now, but you can buy in March or April when your taxes are done. And you might find that encourages you to get your taxes done sooner in the year, like me, to get jump on the competition. Anybody else have an answer on that? You want to jump in on helping Drew? Does he need 2 years to buy with self-employed? No. Eric,
Yeah, I'm not sure on the amount of if it's 1 year or 2 years.
I was muted, sorry.
Yeah.
I would say just, you can talk to a lender. You can talk to one of our lenders, or if your realtor recommends another lender, because everyone's a little different, but it doesn't hurt to get the ball rolling, to talk to them. If you don't have enough, then you still will have started.
Right. And Drew, I think this gets back to the question I started with, was 9%'s mindset. It's not a question of if you're qualified, it's a question of when. And so if you get the other lender now and see what you need, it'll also help you understand when you prepare your taxes this year. I know for me, being self-employed as a realtor, I can create some as a salary, some as dividends, some expenses, 401k deposits. So this is the time that you might want to get with your accountant and look at expenses and how you want to write things off to qualify. So that's something definitely want to talk to a tax preparer about that can help you. But if you want to talk to Eric and start the process and get people qualified, you'll find out, what I always do as a lender, I would say to my clients, it's not a question of whether you qualify, but it's when. And let's get that date set. And if that's really important to you, if that's your goal, let's work together and make that happen. That's why we have this call, is to say, don't say I'm close and then get discouraged and give up in March or April and then never, maybe we're this close to that dream. Let's push through and do what we have to do to get your taxes filed. Does that help a little bit, Drew? Okay. So again, you have Eric here on this call if you want to talk about lending. Good. or call Patricia and talk to her about what she can do to help. If you have some credit preparation, you might want to talk to David about running a credit, making sure you're qualified, or if we go with the lender, you see what your credit's like. If you need to get it fixed, start now. That way, rather than applying for a loan and then finding your credit problems and starting then, you can start on that now. That's why we're here. We're here to help you guys and to work as a team. We don't get paid anything unless and until you close a house as commissioned business people, but we're glad to help you. That's why we're doing this, to give back and help people who don't think. Here's my goal. I want to talk to people tonight who don't think they can buy a house, but want to, and then help them get a path to buying a house. So it's not a question of whether, but it's when. And so the question I would ask you is, what has to happen for you to be able to qualify? If not today, does it mean by your file tax date, but whether that be February sometime or April 15th or whatever that is for you?
Bill, I just wanted to share, my experience with buying a condo. That was my only option at that time, because this was in probably about 2005. So right before the crash, prices were still, increasing across Los Angeles, but I ended up moving out to Montebello. I bought a condo for $275,000. And it was, I felt like I was overpaying for it, but I still bought it. Fast forward, the housing market crashed. I was upside down on the loan. I couldn't afford the payments because I had a 3-year fixed interest rate. Then I went to adjustable. And at that point, I ended up just short selling the condo just to dispose of it. After that, I moved in with my parents because, I had my daughter, and I thought, I'm not gonna be able to buy a house for a long time. But the reality is, I had the mindset of, I just lost my place. I had fixed it up. I had completely remodeled it. It was beautiful. I was feeling down about letting it go, but I had no other option at that time. But within a year, I was able to save for my down payment, and I ended up getting a FHA loan. I put down about $14,000, and that was, what got me into the home that I'm in today. So I just kept saving my money, not eating out, not buying coffee. Of course, I was living with my family, so that was saving expense on the rent. And so I had that opportunity as well to help me get through that year. But as soon as I had my 3.5%, I basically had already checked my credit, and I was able to, to buy a house after that. So sometimes it feels like it's impossible, but when you start going through the steps, then you realize that the doors start opening for you. You just have to seek it out and not close off your mind to thinking that you'll never be able to own a property. I mean, it's doable. I live in Downey now, and I love it. It's a beautiful city.
Downey is the Beverly Hills of the 562.
It sure is.
I say that all the time because I grew up nearby in La Habra, which we refer to as Guadalajara. And I knew of Downey my whole life. I'd been through it. To me, it was just kind of a city I drove through on the 5 freeway, one way or the other. I never really thought about it. Mm-hmm. But I met this friend of mine who was so proud of living in Downey and used that phrase. And ever since, it just struck me as Downey. And it is the Beverly Hills 562. It sounds funny, but it really, really is. It's just a nice area in that area. So,
yeah, absolutely.
And I think the point is, look, we want to talk tonight about is buying for you and how it's mindset. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit about market and how to do your research. But at some point, no matter what happened, all roads lead to you starting with sitting down with the lender, saying, what paper do you need from me? Turning in the paperwork and finding out either A, you qualify and for how much, or B, you don't, and what you need to qualify for what you want. And so that's all roads are going to lead there. In fact, on Mondays, I do a Zoom call with real estate agents on buyers, how to convert lookers into buyers. How do you actually build a business helping buyers buy houses? The number one way to have happy customers who are buyers is to get them to prepare ahead of time their loan and credit so they know exactly what they qualify for. They're prepared and then can leverage the preparation to get a better deal. And that's what you want. Too many buyers don't get the paperwork done and feel they have to overpay or feel like they have to get forced into a deal. But if your paperwork's done and your lender's done correctly, you're like a cash buyer. You had the equivalent status, you do it correctly. Then you have a chance and raise your credit score. You have a chance to get a better payment, better terms, and you're also more likely to get approved. So, okay, Joanna says, if I have a higher credit than my husband, I'm in my mid-700s, but he's in the 650s, should apply under my name only, does it matter? Great question, John. I had the same experience, so it's the other way around. In my world, I'm married, and I'm the primary income winner in my family. But my wife had a medical thing from 7 years ago that we got a bill 7 years ago. It was not due to us. It was owed to the insurance, or it was owed by the insurance company. We sent in the paperwork, and for whatever reason, we never heard from him until I applied for a loan recently to buy an investment property. And out of the blue, the lender says, "Gee, your wife's credit score is lower because of this collection account." I said, "What?" And they said, "Well, you can buy the property in your name only. And, we have a trust, so I could buy it in the name of the trust. And the reality is, if I buy it as a married man, it's community property unless I buy it otherwise." So my wife wasn't happy to hear that. So we went about, it turned out, by the way, the property we wanted to buy wasn't available anyhow, so we didn't get the loan. But we started the process, and I've since sent letters to the collection agency to get them to get my wife's credit score improved, and we're working towards that. So I would say to Joanna, not knowing all your income, generally, if you apply in your name only, then you have to qualify with the income as well. If you qualify for what you want to buy with your income only, that works. If you need your husband's income to qualify, then that's not going to work from a tactical point of view, right? It doesn't really matter who owns the property. If you're married in California, odds are, not an attorney, but odds are you're going to end up finding it's community property. Or you should probably have an estate plan that includes a trust. And either way, it doesn't matter who buys it, you could deed it in the trust. But I would definitely say that it depends on whose income it is. And again, that's a good reason to meet with a lender. If you don't know the answer to that question, how much do you qualify in your own? I find sometimes borrowers are able to qualify for more than they expect. But that's a good reason to meet with a lender and see how much you qualify in your own.
The lender will see, you would both submit your information, and then the lender will advise you which way to go if there was something on one of your credit that's going to make it impossible. The lender wants to help you work it out. They only get paid if you're able to borrow.
But you put, and she continued in the chat saying she didn't have massive debt, no collections, but your income adds. Okay, so again, how much is a lot? I would say to you, meet with the lender and find out how much, if you need his income or not qualify. But also meet with the lender and find out, get your credit run. You might want to talk to Ronan to get his credit score out, because now you have a higher credit score and now you have two incomes, you qualify for more, and we better anyhow. So I would definitely say, and you said you don't have a lot of debt or collection and no collections, there's some reason why his score is so much lower. You need to find what that is. There's a lot of possibilities. Sometimes it's like, for me, running my business, I had a great rewards card for my business, but I was always at the maximum. I'd max it out, and I think I had about $10,000 line. So in a month, I'd spend $25,000. So I'd get to 9,000, pay it off, get to 9,000, pay it off, get to 9,000, and then they'd report the statement that was maxed out on the credit card. But I paid it off by the time it was reported. So I ended up getting a new credit card with a new commercial bank for $30,000 that I never hit maximum on. And the other one I never used. So now all of a sudden I have more credit and less usage. My credit score went up. So talk to David Segal, also known as Ronan, on this call. He put his information in the chat box. Maybe you're looking at getting your credit repaired now rather than waiting. And that way, again, sometimes it takes time, but if you start now, it won't be a problem. Hope that helps, Joanna. And Ronan, you might want to reach out to her, just kind of explain your program to her and see if you can help.
Sure.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for participating. Okay, any other questions? If you're watching this live in the live stream, we're on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. You can put questions or comments there. I don't see those live today, but if I see them afterwards, I'll respond to them or get them to the right team member to get you an answer. If you're watching on the Zoom, you can put it in the chat box people have, or you can unmute yourself and just jump in and ask a question. The goal is to be participative. Each week, we're going to walk through one step of the process. And again, today was about mindset is buying right for you. Get clear on that and the reason why. And the next week, we're going to talk about kind of the market statistics, the market inventory, prices, and then how to learn about the market you're buying in so that you can be comfortable and confident when it comes time to buy something that you're making the right decision. You know, it's amazing to me how many, just to preview next week, if you Google search or YouTube search, housing crisis, is amazing how many there are. Then if you know how to search it, if you want to search a year ago, housing crisis, there was many a year ago. It's just amazing how that always gets attention, that idea or that concept. I don't see it. I don't see the housing crash happening in the next year for a lot of reasons. It's a long discussion we'll talk about next week. I do send out an email every week about the real estate market. So if you're interested, put your email in the chat box and I'd be glad to add you to my list. And you'll get my Monday morning insight into the real estate market. Okay, so if you have a last minute question, please put in the chat box or unmute yourself or raise your hand. Any last comments, Patricia, that you want to add to our viewers today, both here live and watching online?
Yes, I just want to let everybody know, I'm a realtor in Southern California. I'm here if you guys have any questions. Don't ever feel like a question is maybe a dumb question. You know, as Bill said, we're all here to help you. This call is, just meant to be informative and so we can help one another. We want everyone to achieve their home ownership goals and we're here to help you guys attain those.
Great. Before I go on, I got a question in the chat box from Simone saying, are there any top credit repair or debt consolidation that anybody recommends, or is it best to continue on my own? And then ask for myself. I'll say this, it's a lot of work. I was a lender for a long time, so I know what to do. And I've used credit companies for help. Debt consolidation, definitely I would not recommend. Debt credit repair or prevention, that's what David does. He's on our call for that reason. So I would urge you, Simone, reach out to David or Ronan Segal.
And that's what I just said. I don't know exactly what he's doing on his own. And I recommend that everybody that has any questions, just give us a call. I mean, I'm just going to say it's 212-518-3929, 212-518-3929. And, at least we'll have a conversation and we'll see where we're at. And, our services are, very, very, affordable, and we love to help people. And that's what we're here for. So.
Exactly. It's exactly what we're here for. It's
Exactly.
why we're doing this call.
That's what we're doing this call.
Simone, you're not going to waste my time. Ask questions, call, text, talk to David. They have a program that can help if that's what you want to go down that road.
Exactly.
Very reasonable. I heard about it and grabbed them up and said, hey, I had this homeowner seminar. You'd be perfect fit for it. I'm not getting paid by them at all. This isn't an affiliate link. This isn't I don't get any commission from their company. I have nothing to do with it other than I met him through a friend. And I said, I need to get that product out there to our prospective home buyers because you'll help people get into houses. Carolina, thank you for your kind comments. It's nice to see you on the call again and always nice to hear from you.
Thank you. Love this. This is a great space. And as I'm listening to just, all of the suggestions, it's really helping me. Like I said, it really is helping me with my mindset and how to move forward. So I know I have to pay off a couple of more debts that I'd like to get out of the way, like student loans and stuff. And I'm so close. And then I think I'll be ready to take that leap to look at applying for a loan and seeing what I qualify for and getting a copy of my credits report to see if there's any repairs that are required in that area.
Well, and what you might do is start now and get a plan, because what I would say is you sound like you're doing the right thing, but like anything else, if you have a clear date in mind, paying off your student loan will take you next 4 months or 8 months. Well, now you have a date that's set and you can work towards that. I think it will help you be more likely to accomplish that goal. So the more details you put in your plan, I know that's true for me in my business. I definitely upgraded my business this year by getting a regular bookkeeping service and a regular tax preparer service, much more sophisticated accounting, because I really wanted detailed numbers to push me to what I want to achieve. And I'd urge the same for you. We don't charge to apply, and then you'll find out really how far away you are, and you can make that decision. Okay, just a suggestion.
Thank you. That's great.
And Patricia pointed out you can get a free credit report per year, so she gave you the link for that. Good. And Simone, it sounds like we answered your question, so glad to do that. David, with you, Eric, anything else you want to add into the end?
No, I put, you contact me just at tiny.one /best rates.
Great. Great. So anybody who wants to get a hold of him, there's the best link to get started on your process, tiny.one/best rates. And you can get started with the lenders to get a plan together. It doesn't cost anything to start the process. So I would urge you to take advantage of that. The nature of real estate, it was really interesting. I had a conversation with a realtor today who wanted to increase their business. And the company called and said, we're going to charge you $500 a month for leads. And I said, isn't it true in real estate that we give to our customers before we get anything? Right? That's just the nature of our business. And I don't think sometimes customers understand that's how our business works. We're okay with that. We expect that. We sit with the seller and show them what the house is worth before they agree to list it with us. We sit with the buyer and show them what they need to qualify for a loan, how much they can qualify for, what they need to do to get to qualifying long before we sell them a house. That's the nature of our business. Other businesses are different. You have to pay to start the process, but with us, it's not. So you have some free resources. Patricia pointed out a free credit report that we recommend. And again, David has a system that you can go to him as well as get the credit repair done, process started if that's where you need to go, get a clear plan of action. So I suggest you take care of those resources. So again, thanks for being on the call, everybody. Thanks for participating. Carolina and Simone and Joanna, and I think it was Drew. Thank you to our partners in this call, Patricia and David Ronan and Eric. Thank you for being here helping people. We really appreciate it. We do this every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is 8 p.m. Eastern. We stream it live on the YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So if you want to come on board after that, love to have you partner with us. And thank you so much, everybody. Come back next week with next week's topic. We're going to talk about the real estate market, statistics, inventory, pricing, conditions, to give you an idea of what's going on and how you can protect yourself. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.